It's a pretty horrible situation in Turkey and Syria over there. There are hundreds of collapsed buildings across 10 cities in Turkey alone. No cell phone coverage in many Turkish cities, and it's snowing Malatya as rescue workers dig through the rubble. As we delve into the details, it's also crucial to note that Turkey is one of the world's most active earthquake zones. Now, on the streets and towns and cities across southeast Turkey and Syria, people have fled their homes to shelter in cars, fearing aftershocks and more collapsed buildings. Rescue workers and residents are still frantically searching for survivors under the rubble that you can see on your screens of crushed buildings in multiple cities on both sides of the border. Also, the toll from the earthquake in Syria has risen to nearly 500, and over hundreds are wounded. This is as per senior health officials and the Syrian government. Many buildings in the region have already suffered damage in fighting during Syria's nearly 12-year-long civil war. This is not making things any better. Emergency service officials in Turkey, meanwhile, put out the initial death count at 76, although it threatened to climb substantially higher because the nighttime disaster had flattened dozens of apartment blocks across major cities, as you rightly mentioned. Now, reports state that the earthquake is among the most powerful to hit the region in at least a century. The epicenter region is also home to millions of refugees, many of whom live in tents and makeshift structures. So this is an absolute nightmare scenario for them. And to top it all, the worst thing is that it's also winter. Now, world leaders have stepped in to help. US President Joe Biden has directed US aid and other federal government partners to assess response options to the most affected areas in Turkey as well as Syria. The National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, meanwhile, has said in a statement that the US is ready to provide any and all needed assistance. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president, despite the turmoil in his war-ravaged country, has said that his country was ready to provide necessary assistance to friendly Turkish people in the aftermath of this tragic earthquake.